Another year, another competitive Lancaster housing market. If you're wondering who's actually buying homes in Lancaster right now and why prices are still holding strong, then this video is for you. Today, I'm breaking down the four main types of buyers who are moving to Lancaster, what they're looking for, and why all of this is keeping our market competitive. The one that's keeping a lot of the prices high are relocations from out of state. The biggest shift we've seen over the past few years is out of state buyers have been coming, especially from areas like New York, New Jersey, and even parts of DC and Philadelphia. These buyers typically have higher salaries, higher income, and especially if they can remote work or have a hybrid, they can commute to the office 1 or 2 days a week whilst keeping these high salaries, which enables them to purchase these homes in Lancaster. A home in Lancaster that costs $500,000 might be nearer $900,000 or even above $1 million in certain cities. Secondly, the lifestyle. Lancaster has a slightly slower pace, but it still has a strong community feel. There's plenty of restaurants and access to nature. And third, location. So even if you have moved out of the big city, you're still within an hour to 2 hours of most of the major metros, 3 hours from New York, 2 hours from Philadelphia, 2 hours from DC. So it's a great commuter town as well. The second major group is first-time home buyers, and they're still very active. Now, yes, interest rates have changed a little bit in the last couple of weeks. However, people are still desperate to making onto the housing market. What continues to bring first-time home buyers to Lancaster is that they are relatively affordable compared to the rest of the nation. There's still strong local job growth, and you're able to get in with 3 to 5% down, or even less if you qualify for some of the local incentives. Typically, these buyers are looking in the 250 to 400,000 range. They still want properties that are lower maintenance and they are close to work, school, and the various amenities. These buyers are more payment sensitive, but they are still buying and create this strong foundation of demand. Because the cost of renting is relatively high in Lancaster compared to salaries, buying versus renting becomes a much more viable option. The third group are the move up or the homeowner buyers. This is the group that a lot of people overlook. These buyers are typically selling a home and then using the equity to move up to a bigger home or a more flexible space that suits their lifestyle. So what brings these people into the market? Well, growing families, remote work, needing more space, or wanting a newer, more updated home. Typically, these may be first-time home buyers who had purchased maybe 5 years ago, who are looking to upgrade to that larger property, or people downsizing into smaller, more manageable properties. You'll typically find they're looking at 4 bedrooms, open layouts, updated kitchens and bathrooms in the better school districts or the quieter locations out of the main city life. And then the final big group are the investors and secondary buyers. This final group, again, tend to be very well qualified cash buyers, maybe people who earn big salaries in New York or on the West Coast in places like California. And then they come and they invest money in Lancaster because they see the long-term growth. They see the universities. There's also the traveling nurses and the doctors, lots of hospitals in the area. So there's a lot of strong long-term rental, mid-term rentals for those traveling nurses. Short-term rentals doesn't tend to be as popular in this area, but you have multiple different opportunities for different investors, whether that's small multifamily, mid-term rental, or large multifamily to get a slice of the pie. But why does this keep prices competitive? Now, the thing is, it's the combination of all of these. There aren't that many homes in Lancaster for sale, and you don't have just one type of buyer trying to buy in Lancaster. You have multiple strong pools of buyers who are all competing at the same time, often for similar properties. Relocators are bringing in those high incomes. First-time buyers are entering the market and semi-desperate to get into a property. Move up home buyers are using the equity from the properties bought a couple of years ago in order to invest in those high price point properties. And then you also have the investors who are looking at purchasing properties that maybe need a little bit of work that were in that more affordable price point, which keeps pushing those prices up. All of this, and Lancaster continues to rank as one of the top small cities in the US because it has this really great balance of affordable lifestyle, location, long-term value, plenty of restaurants, but then you also have all of the shops that you could need, but you're also only 15 to 20 minutes away from the countryside. What I'm seeing on the ground right now is that homes that are priced well will sell very, very quickly, and you'll often get multiple offers. I have a client we recently wrote on a property. It was like $275,000 in limits, and there were 17 offers on the property, and it was only on the market for 3 days. That seller was able to get phenomenal terms and a phenomenal price for their property because they priced it correctly. Now, if you are thinking about buying in Lancaster, click this video here, which goes through the home buying process. And if you are thinking about potentially selling your property, then click this video here, where I go through how to price your home properly to sell.